Hi, I'm Jim Lowe, and welcome to High Country Chronicles Knives and Gear. I'm currently in the middle of a backpacking trip to Camp and Bear Lakes in the Emigrant Wilderness. If you're a beginner backpacker or you're interested in what the early season conditions are like, stay tuned. Emery is a new backpacker and new to snow conditions, and he has agreed to allow me to film him as I give him advice as we go. Now, the advice I give is purely based on my experience. I am no Kilian Jornet. It's June 24th, 2023, and Emery and I are heading into the Emigrant Wilderness. We're going in at the Crabtree Trailhead. The Crabtree Trailhead is in the Emigrant Wilderness in the Stanislaus National Forest, just north of Yosemite. It's a 3-hour drive from the San Francisco Bay Area. The trailhead starts at 7,000 feet and is the primary western entrance to Camp Lake, Bear Lake, Pine Valley, Grouse Lake, Deer Lake, Buck Lakes, Wood Lake, Gem Lake, and Jewelry Lake. Our trip takes us to Camp Lake at about 7,600 feet, and then finally Bear Lake at 7,700 feet. The road to the trailhead is closed, so we've parked just above the pack station, and it's going to be about a 3-mile hike to the trailhead. Originally, we were planning on going into Gem or Jewelry Lakes. Whether we get there with this additional 3 miles will depend on the conditions, so we'll see. So gear-wise today, my pack looks pretty bloated, and I'm not quite sure why. Something's off, and I haven't been able to figure it out, but got my standard kit, fishing rods, poles. I've got my MSR Evo snowshoes. I've got some of my thicker gloves again. In terms of knife, I've got the new Phobos Tier 1 BC. So hopefully we'll be making a fire tonight, and this will come in really handy. So, as I said, the road is closed, so we're hiking the road the 3 miles to the trailhead. Beta so far is that the trailhead is completely socked in with snow, which is fine. We've got our snowshoes, but you know, if this ends up being a 6-hour trek into Bear Lake, that's where we'll make camp. We're seeing a couple down trees on the road to the trailhead. Nothing that's going to impede us though. Crabtree Trailhead, half a mile that way. So it looks like it's going to be a 2.5 mile hike to the trailhead. 2.5 miles?
2.5 miles to trailhead.
So a little less than we thought. Oh wow, look at all that snow. You can see the snow between the trees. That's a lot of snow. Finally starting to hit the pavement again. The road down here is slightly rutted, but not bad at all. Once they remove the snow and the trees, you know, there should be pretty easy access. We've come down to the parking lot at the trailhead, and there is still a bit of snow here, so they're probably going to want to wait for this snow to melt before they open it up, but there's still a bit of snow on the road. Creek is pretty full. Now there are fish in this creek on occasion. We are on the trail proper. The trail starts at about 7,300 feet. Depending on the conditions, it'll probably take us an hour, maybe an hour and a half to get to Camp Lake. From there, we'll be able to see what the rest of the wilderness looks like and whether or not, you know, we're going to go to Bear Lake or try to continue to Gem. Where to cross? Looks like there's a down tree down there, and got some submerged rocks over here. There you go. We're just about 30 minutes in. We haven't gone that far. You know, we took some time crossing that creek, and we took some time out to adjust Emery's pack. There was a little movement in his pack that I noticed as he was going over the creek, so we've tightened that up. And that probably is a, you know, just a good tip for folks, especially if you're a beginner backpacker. If you haven't had your pack fitted to you, you definitely should do that. Don't just buy any random pack off the internet. Go to your local wilderness store, REI, that sort of place, and they'll size you to your proper pack. Packs come in different sizes based on your torso length. And then when you're hiking, especially in conditions like this, you want to keep your pack fairly tight, close to your body, so that it's not throwing you off balance. If you fall in a wheel well, you know, it's not shifting one way and causing you to break a leg or something. We're finding a lot of fallen debris that we have to deal with, such as this. And you know me and my knives love fallen debris. Today, in addition to having the Tier 1 BC, I've got my Heritage Knives kukri on me. So, looking forward to having a fire tonight. So we're about 50 minutes in, and we're just now getting to the switchbacks. Those that know the trail know that there's a set of switchbacks that you hit before getting to the bluff that's going to take you to the intersection with the trail to Pine Valley. It's been slow going. There's snow in places, there's dry trail in places, lots of fallen brush, so we've been clearing trail as we go. And yeah, I was hopeful earlier that it was going to be an hour, maybe an hour and 30 minutes to camp. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more. Okay. Put one pole, yeah, okay, there you go. So we're about an hour and 20 minutes in now, and we've come to the trail intersection with Pine Valley Trail. We're gonna take a quick look and see what the rest of the wilderness looks like from the overlook here. Now this trail would also take us to Gem and Jewelry Lakes. It goes down into the valley. It's going to be you know, a little swampy, a little mosquito-y. It's got one major drawback though, and that is it's got a major creek crossing with Pine Creek, and I think given the conditions, that crossing is probably going to be more difficult than what's ahead of us if we stay high. So what we're planning on doing is staying high, and eventually we'll be going over those ridges right over there. Okay, so we're back on the trail to Camp Lake. A little embarrassed to say that when we went back to the intersection, I missed it, which kind of, you know, just kind of goes to show what the conditions are like. I know this trail really well, so the fact that I was distracted and missed it and walked a little bit past where we should have headed back up towards camp, you know, just says something about the conditions right now. Even if you know the trails, you just got to keep your eyes open and be diligent that you're going the right way. And we've decided that we're going to make Bear our final destination for today. So from here, depending on the conditions, I think it'll be 2 hours to Bear. Now the skies are looking a little dreary and the temps have dropped, which is a surprise because it's supposed to be a really nice day today and for the rest of the week or weekend. So lots of snow wells here, and the key is to stay away from the edges, stay away from, you know, elevated fallen trees, anywhere where snow is going to meet a tree or a rock is a potential place to have a well, and that just means that you're going to fall in, so try to keep to the center. Okay, we're reaching the last pitch up to Camp Lake. So here's an interesting situation, right? So this side looks okay. You can see how the snow is going straight down. This side though, there's likely a tree well in here where this is all overhanging. So you just got to be careful about that kind of stuff. And if you fall, just go with it. And then anytime where you've got water going under snow, it's another situation where, you know, you're going to have some undercut snow. So you can see it here, seems okay here, but there's a rock there. This whole section here could be undercut, especially over there by that log. So I'm going to come along and stay to the right and hope I don't have any issues. Someone really doesn't want us making this last pitch up to camp. Now here's another example of of an area that's probably okay, because the well kind of comes in like this, gives it structure. Same with down here. We'll see what the other side's like though. The other side looks okay, but you know, this fallen tree gives you potential down in here on the edges to have a well. So I'm going to go around this way and then skirt to the right. And yeah, you can see that big gap right down in here. It's probably okay now because there's so much snow that this has got really good structure, but in a week or two when this is weaker, this area under here is probably gonna give way. We're finally at Camp Lake. Now camping here is pretty good. There's no camping allowed over by that rock basically between the trail and the lake on this section, or in the back, which is a shame because the back there's this little pine grove. It's just excellent camping, but they don't allow camping back there anymore. There are spots here along these rocks, and there are spots on the other side along these rocks and back above, so anywhere basically to the, I guess, southwest of the trail you can camp. So normally I'd stop and eat lunch, but the clouds look a little funky, and we're only about an hour away from Bear Lake. It took us 2 hours and 30 minutes to get here, so I'm guessing it's going to take an hour, maybe an hour and a half to get to Bear. We'll see. Yeah, so here we go. If you follow my footsteps, just kick in a little bit more. There you go. That'll give you some better purchase. Oh, shit. Easy. The same place I slipped. No worries. Now be careful when you come down here. Yeah. There's a well right here. So you're going to have to basically head directly towards this rock, and you're just going to have to commit to going forward before it can break. Oh, shit. This is the first time you've hiked in these conditions, huh?
Yes, sir.
Now just commit to stepping on that rock. There you go. Now this is gonna be fun. I guess we could just go around. Yeah, why don't we just go around? Now this part of the hike, we don't really have to follow the trail. I mean, I know the trail goes up and around the lake, but you know, we can just go laterally here and meet the trail. I mean, it's going to go up this way. If we just go laterally across the rocks, we'll find it again, no worries. Trail goes up, we're gonna go down along this, and then hopefully there's a rock over there. We can come back up and then come back down. I said that like I was hoping for a rock. No, I know there's a rock there, but there's also a lot of brush. So hopefully we can get through a clear area there that is easy for us to traverse and get back on the trail. So this is my current favorite fishing spot on Camp Lake. Not seeing any fish, lots of silt on the water. This next pitch is going to be a little sketchy. It's pretty undercut there, probably so by that rock and plant. Okay, so let me go first. Yeah, I'll go straight through the middle, and if I don't fall through, you can follow. Okay. Okay, we're back on the trail, safe and sound. Had a few steep pitches to go through, but we've got our trekking poles. And one thing to remember when you're using trekking poles and you're going down steep inclines is, you know, you put the poles in front of you, push them in hard to the ground so that you've got stability, and you know, make those your third leg. Okay, on the other side of Camp Lake there is no trail, so we're making our best guess to get over to that bluff, and hopefully we can pick up the trail there. We're taking a quick break. We've got some Togo's roast beef, which I froze last night so that it would be unthawed about noonish today. Another beginner's tip is to put all the food that you're going to be eating for that day in your pack someplace that's accessible. Don't put it in your bear canister because you know, you'll have eaten it by the time you get to camp, and there's no reason for it to be in the bear canister. So what I do is, you know, I've got these pockets here. I put my gels in here. Sometimes I'll put bars or gels in these lower pockets, and then up here in the top is where I usually store my lunch and then any other snacks. And that way, you know, as we're hiking, I don't need to stop. I can pull these out quickly, and then when we stop for lunch, of course, I'm putting my pack down. So I've got food in here, all of it readily accessible. You know, I don't have to pull out everything out of my pack to go into my bear canister. After a little route finding, we're back on the trail. I forget the name of this creek. Strawberry Creek, maybe? This is deeper than I expected. Looks like it's an easy step over, but marshy that way. And maybe an easy step over there. We could cross there, deal with that well, and then come back over here. Emery voted for the well, so we went that way. Alrighty. So So as you're coming up, kick in the snow to make yourself a little stair, a little shelf. Now kick multiple times. You want to really get in there, really bite down. There you go. Just like you're going upstairs. Go down through the middle and go fast, because it's undercut on both sides. Just commit. There you go. And then you can step across to this dry section here. You can step across to this rock, and then you're good to go. Now this is going to be way undercut, but again, go through the middle, go fast, and hope for the best. So that whole section just fell in as I came across. So this section of the trail is just snow and bog, snow and bog. We've lost the trail again, but through my GPS, I've been able to ascertain that we need to go to the right, which seems to me, from my memory and everything else, seems like the logical way to go. And you can see here, we're coming up. That might even be the trail there. It might be over here to the left, but you can see there's clearly a big well down in here. So we're going to avoid that section. We're going to go to the right, swing back around. I think what we need to do is come up over and then go to our right. So coming to another little creek, big well there. Repetitive theme. Stay to my right and go around. There's a tree there as well. So again, stay to where there's more likely deeper, firmer snow. So this is actually worse than I thought. You can see it's undercut there, and it's undercut here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to try to ascertain where the center is, or the low point, and presume that's going to be the weak spot. I'm going to try to step over it quickly. If it breaks here, you know, I could probably go in up to my head. So yeah, here we go. Here goes nothing. I made it over the well safely. Now it's Emery's turn. Hot dog. Emery's got his life straw. So all this is probably going to be soft snow. I'm going to try to go up. Oh, none of this looks good. Yeah. Yep, there he goes. I knew it. Knew that was going to happen. You're going to want to try to stay to your right or your left a little bit. Oh, there you go. Apparently, when I fell through that little well, I must have hit a rock because I've got a big... You okay? Big knot. Yeah, I'm fine. I just got a knot. I can barely feel it, other than the fact that it's there. Okay. Left foot planted. Holes for security. Lean forward. Up and over. Okay? Just take one big step. Not so far out. You want them, yeah, you want them closer together.
I was thinking step over here.
Sure, you could do that if you want. If you feel more comfortable stepping to the shore. So, no trail from here. I know it doesn't seem like it, but we are getting close. Okay, it's about 2 o'clock, and the snow is starting to get pretty slippy and slushy. Okay, well, this kind of sucks. So I think we're gonna go up and over, see what happens. Okay, we had to go high above the trail to avoid that pond, and now we got to get down. And it looks like our best route's gonna be this way. Slippy snow like this. If you feel comfortable basically skiing down or glyciding, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, build yourself or dig yourself some steps and step down. I'm just going to slip slide on the way down. So if you feel comfortable, you know, you can slip slide down like I am. I'm basically, you know, almost skiing, or you could glissade down on your butt. Otherwise, you can just, you know, build yourself little stairs. There you go. Or you can sidestep down if you're more comfortable. Make stairs for yourself if you need to. Your time. It is slushy, so it's going to collapse a little bit. Just follow the same trail I made. And back to the trail for whatever short amount of time we'll be able to follow it. Actually, I think I said this before, that the creek's name was Strawberry Creek. I think it's Lily Creek. And I have caught fish in here. Let's see if we can see any. I don't have my polarized lenses on, so that's going to make it a little bit more difficult, but there are fish in here. Okay, we are essentially at the outlet. Isn't that beautiful? And if I'm not mistaken, and again, I don't have my glasses on, but there's two nice trout right there in the center of that pool. Okay, we're essentially at the lake, but what we're going to do, normally I would go up to the right and I'd start fishing there, but since we're camping, we're going to go to the left. The campsites are somewhere over here. I don't remember quite exactly where, and hopefully they're not one big bog. It's also a great spot on the far side of the lake that I've always wanted to camp at, but Emery's really feeling it, so we're going to try to find the first good spot. Now, traversing granite with snow can be a little tricky because it's a little bit harder to figure out where the wells are going to be. Usually soft snow in, you know, valleys like this. We're just going to camp right here. It seems somewhat protected, and it's not buggy at all. It's not too wet. It's got a fire ring, so I think this will do. So we've made it to the lake, 5 hours, approximately 5 miles from the trailhead. We're at 7,700 feet. I did not expect the scene behind me. I really thought the lake would be completely iced out, you know, given my experience at Kennedy the other week. But, you know, this is cool. If you've seen my previous video, you'll recognize this spot from where I was catching those brook trout. So I know there's fish in here. We saw fish in the stream, good fish in the stream. It looks like the lake is open on the other side, so we're going to have to fish that. I know there's a stream coming through there, which is what I call fishing Shangri-La. So yeah, I'm excited. So I'm pitching my Big Agnes Tiger Wall UL, and you know, again, I'm pitching it. I'm having to pitch it because of how I sleep. You know, I like to sleep with my head upslope, but I really want to be getting into the tent from this side, and this only has zippers on one side. So, you know, I said I'd looked at the REI tent that was similar, and that's where the REI tent is superior. It's, you know, I can get in and out on both sides. Yes, it adds a little weight, but that really would be my preference. And then down here, as I've mentioned before, these clips are a great idea. You just need to remember that when you're pitching the tent, keep them up, because if you put them down, they'll get grit and stuff in there, which makes it hard to come in here and snap in the rainfly. And as always, I kind of need a stake. I've only got 8 stakes. I've only got 8 stakes with me, and I really should put another one in my bag, but you know, that's where having a knife comes in handy. Whoops, that was a little bit too fast. this knot here. See if I can get rid of this knot without jamming my knife into the concrete. Into the concrete. Yeah. Yeah, that worked. I did hit the granite, and it's got a really thin edge, so it rolled a little bit, but nothing I can't take out. Let's see, put a notch in it. I want my notch going this way, so score that way. Score this way again. Got to practice my notches. It's not a skill I am real good at, but that should work. Let's go try it out. Here's where I want to put the stake. It might be a little bit too thick. It's too thick. Okay, let's do something about that. Cut down some of these knots. Just take it down a hair, I think. Yeah, that's easy as you please. Okay, cool. Let's try it again. There we go, right to the notch. Put a rock on it, and that'll hold. Now, another thing I like to do is put rocks on my stakes. You don't really have to do it all the time. If it's really windy, it just adds a bit of extra security. The tent stakes, you know, they should hold, but this way I've got you know, a little bit of confidence knowing that I can leave the campsite and then come back in the afternoon when the wind's picked up and not have to worry, you know, that my tent's been blown away or something like that. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, you know that it can get pretty windy up here. Not all tents are constructed the same. Mine is a two-piece construction. There's an inner part that's a mesh, like a bug mesh, and then there's the outer part that acts as the rain fly. You know, a lot of tents that you find will have that configuration. There's an optional ground cloth that you can purchase for it as well. Now, Emery has something that's you know, completely different. You can see Emery's tent is single wall construction. So the rain fly is essentially the body of the tent, and then it's got the vestibule and it's got some mesh on the inside. It also comes with the ground cloth, which mine did not. And you can see that the outer guy lines are attached to the poles. Now, you know, there's some advantages, disadvantages to both setups. A single wall construction like Emery's tends to be lighter, but it also tends to be a little bit warmer because there's not as much ventilation. A double wall construction, or a tent with a rain fly, that tends to be a little bit heavier because you're carrying both the tent body and the rain fly, but it's also a little bit more versatile, in that, in the high heat of summer, if you're pretty confident that there's not going to be any rain, you can leave the rain fly at home and drop that weight, and you're still in something that's bug protected. The other thing is it's also breezier. It's going to have more ventilation, less condensation. I tend to not carry a ground cloth. A ground cloth does protect the bottom of your tent, but if you do a good job policing the area and making sure that you're getting all of the fallen sticks and briars and whatever else might be on the ground, rocks, if you do some due diligence around that, then I find that I don't need a ground cloth, unless it's really cold or maybe really wet. And when it's really wet, well, I don't carry a ground cloth anyway. But when it's really cold, what I do is I take my SOL Escape Light Bivy, I put that underneath my sleeping pad. When I get to my destination, a common practice I have is to send an okay message to my wife and Emery's loved ones, basically letting them know our location and that we're okay. Now I am pretty much set. Got the tent set up, all my gear's in here. I do really like this tent. I say I'd like to have an entrance on both sides, and that that may be a criticism. I hope it's a constructive criticism, but this tent is, for me, 5'6", 5'7". It is plenty roomy. I mean, look at all that room I have at the head and over here on the side. There's a lot of room in there for me. And as I mentioned earlier, got my kukri with me, so I'll use that to cut firewood later. But yeah, I'm not going to inflate my sleeping pad yet. I'm going to eat a little bit and then I'm going to go fish, because we saw those fish and I'm hoping they're still on station. So something that a lot of folks have started incorporating are these small little rechargeable pumps to blow up your sleeping pads. That looks pretty painless. How much does that weigh? Do you know?
Shoot, less than half a pound.
Cool.
Way less.
Cool. I don't see any fish cruising that overhang, but I mean, I know the brook trout are there, so yeah, that'll work well. Maybe, we'll see. I'm gonna try to put a notch in. We'll see how. Is that gonna be high enough? Yeah, I think that'll be high enough. I don't think I need to worry about any really big critters. So what I'm gonna do is gonna put a notch in there. Alrighty. That should probably hold it. Yeah, I think that'll hold it. Swing it around, bump it a bit. Yeah, all good. So today I'm fishing a 7.5 foot 3-piece that I patterned after a Payne 100. I really like this rod, and I don't fish it nearly enough. It's it has the smooth action of a Payne 100, which is a 2-piece rod, but it's slightly stiffer because of the second ferrule. So this is usually my backup rod when I'm in the backcountry, but if I'm going to fish creeks, this is the rod to do it with. Also fishing a Hardy featherweight. I've got a Scientific Anglers GPX line on, and I think I've got a 4X 7.5 foot leader. I fish cane rods not out of any sense of nostalgia, but because I like the action, and I like the fact that I can make a rod myself that is fine-tuned to the action that I want, and that's why I fish it. I fish a Hardy reel because it's simple and it balances well with the cane rods, and I fish a GPX line because it works well with the with the cane rods, you know, GPX, Wolf triangle tapers. Those both work well with cane rods, so that's why I fish it. Not because of any sense of nostalgia. I'm not going to fish a silk line because, you know, the old days were better. No, silk lines are high maintenance. They're very supple lines. They're good for presentation and such, but they're too high maintenance for me. So it's a plastic line all the way with a rod that I can control the taper. And, you know, that said, I like softer action rods anyway, and it's hard to find a really good softer action graphite rod. You know, not since the Sage LL or the Diamondback Classic Trouts have I seen a really nice medium action rod. So yeah, so that's just my little rant on why I fish cane. Trying to find that spot we were at, but our footprints have melted so fast. Oh, there's a big tree well there. Let's stay away from that. Okay, so I was asking myself the question of how I was going to get down there. I was pretty sure that those were fish in there. Not so sure now, but I think they are. So they don't seem to be active. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on some nymphs, try to crawl down there and see what I can do. Well, Emery's come down to right there. I've got my gold ribs hare's ear on, as well as small caddis. I've caught fish on caddis here in the past, and my gold ribs hare's ear works well here as well. Now I'm only seeing one fish in the pool. Okay, so I'm gonna look downstream and see if there's a way that I can come in from downstream so I'm not coming in from over top of them. It looks like a bunch of those fish moved off station. Huh. Okay, this is gonna be nearly impossible. And I probably spooked anything that was down here when I came in. Yeah. Maybe not. So I think what I'll do, I guess I'll fish down in here first, and then I'll pop up over the top. I don't know how I'm gonna get to that rock. Maybe a downstream presentation from the other side? Or I don't know. Okay, on the off chance that there's anything over here. It's nice and slow. That is some slow current. It's going close to the rock there. Pop, bounce it right off the rock. Can't even see it now. And frankly, if the presentation's right, I would expect these fish to take immediately. Now, I've said I've caught fish here before, and I have, but it's usually a you see them, you catch them scenario. Not prospecting like I am now. Okay, I think that's enough of the prospecting. I'm gonna go sight fish or find some faster water. So I've lost 3 flies in basically just as many minutes of fishing, really because I'm just not in a good vantage point and I'm not getting good drifts. And you know, really, to be successful here, I think you need to sight fish. So I'm going to start looking for fish and hopefully I can get into a better vantage point. I don't think there's any way I'm going to be able to catch those fish, you know, in that pool over there that we see. Emery's in a really good position to catch fish, so hopefully he gets into some. But those, you know, it's pretty much a Hail Mary cast. into that center water, and even if I hook one, I don't know how I would land it. So I just need to look for better opportunities, and opportunities not to lose any more flies. I actually didn't tie any flies before I came, and I lost a bunch of flies when I was in Mammoth. So, and even though I have a box full of flies, what it means is I'm low on confidence flies for the Emigrant. Oh, gonna work my way downstream a little bit, see if I see any fish. I rarely see fish this low. Typically they're all just below the lake, but with this much water in the stream, you know, who knows how far down they'll go. Really tough to see in there this time of day. The shadows are getting long. Maybe if I can slide my way down in there and get a little closer. No, what I thought was a fish is a stick. Okay, let's check upstream. I'm not going to cast unless I'm sure I see a fish. It's really pretty. Okay, back at the Hail Mary spot, and yeah, I'm not seeing what I was seeing before. So, those must have been fish. Just no way from here that I could get to them. Go see how Emery's doing, because this looks like a really good spot. You doing any good over here?
I lost 3 of my lures.
You lost 3 of your lures. I lost 3 of my flies.
What I'm going to do is, I'm going to do an indicator, like I have a refinements like this.
Uh-huh.
I'll show you one.
Yeah, an indicator.
Like you have a floater,
Okay.
and then I'm going to put your steer
Underneath it?
underneath that.
Okay. If you do that, I would cast way up into that fast water and just let the whole thing just drift all the way down.
Okay, copy.
Because this should be a really good run. I mean, there should be fish in here. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go to the run up above you. Okay, my crossing wasn't graceful, but I'm here. I'm not seeing anything in the slow water here. So I'm hoping that there's some deep right in here. Emery's at a really good spot. I mean, where that water comes down and then comes along that side bank, you know, coming along to the left, there should be fish stationed right there. Now, I gotta see how fast I can get my fly down here. Doesn't need to be too deep. It is going pretty fast though. You know what? Let's start over here in the dead water. Nothing. Okay, try to bring it by this rock in front of me. I might have to go a little deeper. Rather throw a tuck cast in, get it, just dive down just a little deeper. There we go. It's still going a little bit faster than I would like. Time to get a bit more methodical. Fishing close. Short tuck cast out a little bit farther, slow it down. Another one out a little bit farther, slow it down. Yeah, those are decent. So I'm a little surprised that I didn't catch anything in the creek. I did get a few good drifts, and normally, you know, that's all it takes is if you get a good drift, but the water's going through there pretty quick. I'm up at the dam right now. I looked at the dam a little bit, and frankly, I'm not seeing any fish under or around the dam. I don't know if I'm going to be able to roll cast that far with this 7.5 foot rod, so I'm going to give it a shot, and if I think I can do better with the 8 foot rod, I'll go get the 8 foot rod. I've lost like 7 flies, so I think I've got maybe 2 true hare's ears flies left. One that I haven't used before, and one that's all ratty and basically it doesn't look anything like it's supposed to look, but it still works. Yeah, I think I'll save those for tomorrow. I think we'll do better at the inlet tomorrow, you know, presuming this weather holds out. And I'm just going to try fishing these flats for a little bit. I'm not seeing anything, but you know, maybe some prospecting will work a little bit. Emery's in a good spot, and deciding to put an indicator on and float it through that run is a really good idea. So I'm confident that he should get into some fish if there's active fish there. So I've watched those flats for a while and I haven't seen any fish, and I decided if I'm gonna prospect, I might as well prospect someplace that has a little bit better chance of success. There might be fish cruising this ice shelf, and it's not going to require a hero cast for me to reach. So, you know, I think I'll try this and then head over towards camp and try the ice shelf over there. I'm coming up to the bank here. The first thing I'm going to do, I probably should have done this before my shadow went over the water. I'm just going to dap down in here, see if there's anything right on the bank underneath these rocks. Sometimes you get fish hanging out in these rocks and weeds. Okay, well, not getting any action there, so let's try prospecting. Now, I'm going to try to get it as close to, if not on, the ice shelf as possible and drag it off. Okay, it's on pink. There it goes. That was interesting. The Calvados nymph wasn't wet enough to sink, so it hung there for a while until it absorbed some water, and then it sunk. Now, I would expect action basically immediately, like right as it falls. Whoa, don't want to do that. Another 2 flies. There we go. Whew. Where is it? Okay, let's let that drop. Dink goes the fly. Nope. Now you hear about how fish can hang out underneath these ice shelves, and I have never been fortunate enough to actually run into that scenario. I'm not going to make too many casts here. Okay, I made about a dozen casts along that ice shelf with no results, so I'm going to go back over to camp and fish the shelf near camp. It looks like Emery's already there. It's getting kind of late. It's 5:30, so maybe I'll quickly fish that ice shelf and then maybe gather some firewood. As you can see, there's actually not that much water there to fish, except off that cliff. Maybe I can hop down to that rock and I can fish off of that rock. Absolutely beautiful here. Come to the edge here. Looks like there are a few spots that I might be able to get down if I hook a fish, so I think I'll just sit on the edge here and make a few casts. I'm not seeing any fish. It's nice and deep here. It's nice and weedy. And I know, well, I know there are fish over here. So, and since this is open, give this a shot. Oh, that is too far. And it was too loud. There we go. Pull it in over the water. And it drops. Deep, 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 deep. I can still see it. It is unmolested as it almost hits bottom. Okay, I'll start a retrieve. Really slow retrieve, but if any fish were here, I'd see them. So I think I'm going to hop down this ledge and then just start making fan casts along this ice shelf. It's about a 30-minute hike to the other side. There'll be some inlets. Craziest thing happened one time. There's an inlet off of one of those rocks, and one of the rainbows swam up in there thinking it was going to be able to spawn. I threw my fly in there, caught it, and then dropped it back into the main portion of the lake, because where it was basically trapped. It was going to end up dying there. There's the inlet there, and there's a small falls at the head of the inlet, and a bunch of fish tend to stack up there. So long as they're not spawning, they're fair game. I haven't seen a single fish. You know, maybe all the rainbows are in the inlet, and all the brook trout are behind them, thinking that they're gonna snack on eggs. Who knows? But yeah, pretty bleak today. I went around this whole area. There's a bunch of really deep water there. I think before I head back to camp, there's a little inlet coming in through here. I might toss some flies, you know, just into that little inlet, see if there's anything hanging out there. Maybe I won't try to fish this. I'm not real sure where the rocks end and the water begins. But I'll just hang out here for a little bit, see if I see anything. Okay, absolutely nada, but still a great day. You know, being out here beats being just about anywhere else. I don't think I'm going to gather firewood tonight. I think you know, we've got so much time tomorrow. I think maybe tomorrow night is the night for the fire. I'm a little bit tired, I'm a little bit hungry, and I think we've got about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half worth of light left. So I'm gonna blow up my sleeping pad, eat, and then maybe if it's still light out and I've got time, I'll gather some firewood. Most of the firewood near our camp has been picked through, but I did see some dead standing when I was fishing earlier. So Emery,
Sir,
how was your fishing?
awesome.
How was your catching?
Horrible.
The sun is starting to head down below the bluff, but I saw some dead standing wood earlier, and I think I'm just gonna go down and see if I can chop it down and carry it back. Yeah, this stuff looks dead. Whoa, I'm sweating now. That's the most work I've done all day. Okay, so I just remembered we can't stay here tomorrow night. So if we're gonna have a fire, it's gonna be tonight or it's going to be tomorrow morning. And I rather have fires at night. So I guess with this little bit of wood that I got, I'm gonna try to make a fire. That was none good. Keeps shooting all those pieces away. That's not what I want to do. So, even though I plan to have a fire, I didn't bring any tinder. I've got the survivor cord, which will work in a pinch, but you know, I thought I'd have plenty of time and I'd be a tough guy and find some fat wood. And now, oh, lights drop.